Hello everyone and welcome back to Addictive Talk. I'm Zach or Zachary_Addictive, and today we are with the wonderful Vicky/Vickaboo, which is your Instagram and TikTok, right? Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. This is really weird. But I love it at the same time. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. I'm not too bad. It's been a busy day. It's been a very busy day. You know, you feel like you just don't stop. Since I got up this morning, I always do the same process: meditation, breath work, cold water, journal, and then I'll go out my day. Normally I have loads of free time, but today I've just been like, because I knew I had the timeline till you were coming to do this. Stressing me out. But now we're here. All is well, all is right with the world. What about you? What's been happening with you this week?
Just had a facial today.
Had a facial?
And a blow dry. Nice chilled day. But yeah, I've just been chilling this week. Having like a bit of a detached week from socials. I think that's important, especially when you're constantly on your phone. So I've just had, like, to be fair, a couple of weeks where I've just kind of detached myself from it a little bit.
Yeah, that's
Live
good.
in the real world and then go back to it when I'm ready.
How often do you just find yourself in that process where you think, I need to let go of it a little bit? I'm just going to turn this towards you a little bit more so we get the sound.
To be fair, I was saying to my manager the other week, I haven't actually had a proper break from socials in 3 years.
Wow.
This was my first proper 10 days plus.
Did you feel like you've lost an arm?
Yeah. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was
Oh, yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
It's difficult as well when it's your job. It's like kind of
Because
like annual
you're constantly
leave.
like that, aren't you?
Literally.
Did you feel weird, like picking it up and going, oh, actually, I'm not doing it?
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be doing that today.
Literally.
Yeah, see, when I first started, I probably started around the same time as you, and then I stopped. I got to I got to 100 and something thousand, and then I realised how active I was on it so much, to the point where it was like, bearing in mind, obviously I was at a point where I was trying to find myself in terms of who I was and like who I was, and that became an extension of who I was. All of these people giving me likes, giving me comments, telling me I was a good person. I was like Gollum over my phone. There was points, honestly, when I first started doing it, I was waking up in the night and going on it and commenting back to every single person, writing back to every single person who inboxed me for help and all this kind of stuff. And then I was like, right, I put it down. So I had a year off when I was first clean. I didn't do any social media. Then I had started again, and that was when it sort of started to blow up a little bit. And then I had another year off after a year, because I was like, I need to change my relationship. And now, as you see, I have 2 phones. One of them doesn't have a SIM card in it, so I can only use that, which is my social media phone.
Oh, I love that.
So that stays here. And if I record stuff when I'm out, I record it on my other phone and then I send it to that phone when I get back. So I'm not doing any social media when I'm out and about, but I also don't miss anything that I want to maybe put on.
Yeah.
But I just find otherwise I just get so stuck in it. I can't help it. I just always feel like I want to know what's happening. How good's this video doing? How good's that video doing? Do people like it? Oh, especially if something's blowing up, I'm like, yay. So hard to not fall into that mindset. Do you feel like that as well a bit?
It's true. My screen time, I got a notification and it was like, your screen time has dropped 38%. I was like, oh, damn.
What was your screen time then?
I don't even want to know.
You don't want to know?
I know. At one point, I'm sure it was over 10 hours.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's like your whole day, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I guess, like you say, it is slightly different when it is your job.
Yeah.
But
it's like looking at a laptop.
Yeah, exactly. How much do you look at that during the day? Or how did you feel then when you was without it? What was that like?
It was nice, but again, I didn't know what to do with myself. And then I felt lazy because I was like, oh, I'm not doing anything. But I should be not doing anything because I just need to have a little bit of a reset. And I was like, oh, I feel like one of those people that just when people say, oh, get a real job. That I felt like that. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Do you find it's disconnected you a little bit from when you obviously put it down for a bit and you're like, oh, what do I do myself? It's like, okay, I'm got to be in the real world again. Does that feel a little bit weird for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think so. It's so much easier to socialise online.
Yeah. Well, we're so used to it now, aren't we? We're so used to it. Yeah, I find it interesting as everybody is so hooked up on social media now. It's just it's normal. That I did that. I said that on a podcast the other day where it's just we'll go on to filters properly later. but the excuse is, oh, everybody does it. So, and if people are spending 8 hours a day on their phone, thing is, most people probably do. That's just how it is now. And it's is it because everybody does it is it okay, or is everybody being a bit ridiculous with how much they're spending? And could we all put it down a bit more and connect with the real world more?
Yeah.
Do you think that?
I think so, yeah.
You
I've
felt-
told my followers before, I've said, you know, put your phone down and just enjoy life. But then I'm like, do as I say, not as I do.
I'm a bit like that though, to be honest. I feel like I can give very good advice, but I can't always follow it myself. Like I know what the right thing to do is, but doing it, however, isn't necessarily always the easiest thing.
That's true.
So we're going to talk about, I don't want to say men versus women, but it is kind of like my idea was we want to talk about the men's perspective on, let's say, all types of things, social media, dating, relationships. You've said feminist, so if you'd like to talk about your point, I think we'll have very controversial opinions and maybe opposing opinions as well. But let's start with the feminist one. What is it today for you to be a feminist? What do you feel that is?
I think there's quite a common misconception that when someone's a feminist, they think that women are above men. But I think it's not that. And maybe to some people it is. I guess it's all circumstantial and personal. But for me, it's just empowering other women, not tearing each other down, encouraging each other, and also giving women a space and a platform to be able to speak their mind and thrive. I don't think it's ever been about like, we're so much better than you. I mean, true, but we're so much better than you. We deserve more. It's never about that. It's always about equality. And that's what, for me, that's what my relationship with feminism is.
So obviously Jordan Peterson talks a lot about, or he's had a lot of debates about like the pay gap, for example. And there's that, have you seen that lady Pearly Things? Her name's Pearl something. But she was basically, she supports more of the men's side of that statement about there being a pay gap. She doesn't believe it exists between men and women. It does exist, but not because of men and women. It exists because, for example, things like men are more agreeable than men. So when negotiating a salary, men are more likely to push harder and get the salary. Men work longer hours, more hours than women do. And also, what was the other one as well? There was another statistic that was so good as well. But it said that there's like 12 or 13 factors as to why men and women are paid differently. And yes, there probably is circumstances where you're paid less because you're a woman, but it's a very, very small percentage as opposed to everything. The pay gap is because you're a woman and you're a man. What do you think?
So I've been in a position before where I've actually personally been affected by a gender pay gap. So I always find it interesting to talk about for someone that's actually lived in that environment. So when I worked in the engineering field, it wasn't... So do you remember that document that was released on BBC News? Like, it was years ago. And it was basically like an expose, and it was an official thing.
Yeah.
But you could search a company and see if they had a gender pay gap or like what their gender pay gap was.
Yeah.
It's never about like you get paid less because you're a woman. It's more going back to like women don't feel empowered enough to even apply for those jobs. So I worked in engineering. I remember at one point I probably could have counted all the women
On one hand,
literally. I was like one of the only women. Obviously now in present time they have like women directors, but I still remember the first time that company had a woman director because I was there and it wasn't that long ago. I think that's what it is. So it's not a case of like I was being paid less because I'm a girl. It was, there's a majority more men.
Yeah, in particular field.
In particular fields, in particular positions, like whether that's an engineer or a director. And I think, like I said, it goes back to women not feeling empowered enough to apply for those roles to begin with. Because like engineering's always been seen as like a blue job.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, but I think that you have it the other way around as well. Nursing, teaching.
Yeah, fair.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how many male teachers do you have?
Yeah.
Because typically now, because of the way men are framed, is that if you're a male teacher of children, you're a paedophile. You'll literally be labelled that.
Yeah.
It's whether people say it out loud or not, that's what they think.
No, yeah, I get what
Because
you mean.
men are just kind of labelled like that now. So that's more of a women's field. It's like 90% plus of women in teaching. Nursing, again, 90%. And if a male person goes to be a nurse, they'll be called gay. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's still that kind of asymmetry in that way for the other way round. But I don't know whether or not, again, it's because that men or women are being sexist either way. I don't think women have gone, oh, we don't want men in here.
I remember a
Do you know
job
what I
that I
mean?
worked at, and I'm not going to say the company. I don't even know if I should even be saying this, but I'm going to say it. Bloody no, now it's too late. There was a rumour that went round about from like a, I don't know, like a, not a CEO, but like a real top boss. He doesn't work there anymore. And apparently he said in a meeting, I don't hire women because they get pregnant and leave.
So he's just looking at it from a financial perspective.
Yeah, he
doesn't want to pay maternity.
I don't hire women because they get pregnant and then they leave.
So, see, that's a funny one. It is sexist to say it in that way, but if you're looking at it from a logical perspective in his mind, he's thinking financially. It wouldn't matter if you were a man or a woman and you did that. If what he's saying, the problem with that is I want to hire men because they cost me less.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not because they're a man or because they're a woman. It's the reason is, if I hire you, I know you're not going to go on maternity leave. You get 2 weeks. Yeah. That's it.
It's true.
And this is another reason as well. Like, I think the pay gap exists is because women are more maternal than men. So generally they won't stay in careers long enough or as long as men will, because men don't ever have to leave. Women has a baby, that's a year out.
It's crazy though, because if I had a baby like tomorrow, I would still be working full time doing what I do. It's just a different job. Like, I don't go to an office. Well, I have an office, but I don't go.
So you're self-employed,
like
aren't you?
Yeah, I don't do like a routine 9 to 5. But if I like had a kid tomorrow, I would still be doing what I'm doing every single day. I'd just have to do it with.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And this is the thing that it's hard to say that obviously it's unfair on women sometimes, because there's women that have children and still manage to smash a sick career.
Yeah, my sister has 4 kids under the age of 11, and she works full time on single parent as well.
And there you go. So there's women that can do it.
Yeah.
And then there's women that are saying, oh, we can't because men don't allow us to. It's like, well, can you say that with absolute entirety and say that happens? It happens. I understand it happens. But on the whole, is it happening a lot? Or is it maybe more due to individual personalities or work ethic or drive or determination or all of the other factors that are involved in why women are either paid less or in different jobs? I feel like there is obviously going to be areas where there is sexism going on. There is male, they are preferred to hiring males, like we've just discussed there. But again, it's not to do with being a woman.
Yeah, I never got an answer for this gender pay gap, but I had to work it out myself. So it's very easy to work out why men in that field were being paid more collectively. It's because there's so many. But I basically, this is not even funny, but it is, when the document got released, we used to have a HR box. So you could basically put questions in the HR box, and then each month they would have like a committee that would publish all of the answers to the questions, like in a forum and stuff. So I printed it and I just put question mark, folded it up, put it in the box.
Put it in there as the question, can you answer this?
Question mark. And then that month passed, and then I kind of read the forum and that question wasn't on there. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it again. So I printed it off again and put 2 question marks, put it back in the box, and question never got answered. So then I wrote, why are you not answering this question? Question mark. Put it back in the box. And then I think they released like a statement about it. I can't even remember what it was. Probably a load of rubbish, but.
So they never.
I was like, just answer the question.
Yeah. So it's clear there are circumstances where there's a pay gap and there isn't necessarily a reason for it other than sex. And it definitely, I don't think there's ever, you can't ever deny that it exists, but I think you can deny that it exists as an entirety due to the fact that they're just female, male. I think there might be 10%, or maybe that's just a figure I'm plucking out of the air really, but my assumption would be based on the different fields that you have to analyse, such as, the maternity and the factors about men working longer hours generally than women do, the fact that they don't have to go off on leave, they're hired more, and they're less agreeable, so then go. If you add all of them factors in, it's probably 80 to 90% of it is due to other reasons, but there is definitely still a part that should be 100% removed. Yeah. There should never be a percentage in that area. It should be 0. It should be all those other factors are fine if that's the reason. And, it may look or appear to be, it's sexist, but really if you look into it, it's not. But yeah, if there's a way to remove that last 10%, which there should be, like you said, if you could put that in and have an answer to that question, and if you're caught, then right, you're screwed. you know, you're in the news.
No, it's that everyone was in the news. It was like every single company, like Barclays, the company that I worked for. Like you could just search any company and it would tell you what percentage male and female are paid differently.
For doing the exact same job.
I mean, I guess so. I don't know. I mean, when I was in that position, I was doing, so it was quite a different situation, but I came in with no experience, no qualifications. Don't even know how I actually landed that job, but ended up being very, very good at it. But I came in as like a young girl and I was doing exactly the same job as the, I guess, more experienced older guys, and I think I must have been on like 20 grand less. They were like on a lot of money. They really were well paid, and I think my starting salary was like 19k. But I was buzzing with that. I was like, yes. Yeah,
first job, of course you are. But I imagine originally you didn't start doing the same job. You had to learn it, right?
Yeah, I had to learn on the spot. Yeah.
And
then like fast forward like 3 years, I did get promoted. I did get pay rises.
But still, the gap was there.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Do you think that was because they'd been there longer and technically had more experience?
Yeah, I think it came
as well as maybe the fact that they thought you're young. We know that we don't have to pay you more because you won't push us.
I think it might have been. So I actually really love the company. Like I do. I'm not just saying that. I do actually love the company. But I think it was a bit of both. I had literally no experience in that field at all. No qualifications other than like GCSEs and like 1 or 2 A levels, compared to people that have like got their MSIPs, they've been to uni and they've had loads of experience. They're like on paper, they're a really valuable.
See, that's a totally different issue as well, though, I think, because when I did recruitment for IT, so I would, you know, I've done recruitment for 15 years and first I did IT, and we used to get candidates who were brilliant, 10 years experience, and then you'd get a 3 years experience but had the qualification, they'd get paid more. They would just get paid more just because they went to uni and they had the tick.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is a massive factor as well, isn't it? So you're fighting against perhaps less agreeable men, older men, more experienced men, and they've got the tick. So there might be, and there might the other one be you were a woman. So there's 5 reasons, 4 of which nothing to do with being a woman, but there is perhaps partly about the fact that you're a woman, and they might think, as a young girl, we can take advantage.
I don't think they took advantage. No, a man hired me. So I was hired by a man, And I remember him having a conversation with me like just before I left, and like talking about when I first started and stuff. And he was like, apparently so I was never meant to get the job. I got the interview for like a practice interview because they didn't want to hire me. But my dad works there. He was like, can you just give her an interview just for like life experience so that she is prepped for her future interviews, whatever. And then I got the job the next day, and he was the director. He told me, he gave me a lift home, and he was like, do you know, when I first hired you, the like different big top boss guy was like, if this goes wrong, this is completely on your head because this is ridiculous. And he was like, no, she's a fresh set of eyes. Yeah. She doesn't know what she's doing, but that's a good thing. Like, let's just see how this, and it really worked out. I loved it.
So yeah, and there's different bits of it, I guess. He gave you the opportunity in the first place when maybe technically you probably got a bit lucky to get it, realistically, based on your experience, but it worked out all right. I
don't know what I said in that interview, but it worked.
I think the moral of the story is that men are really great. They hired you. Moral of the story. So let's move on to what you're doing now with what you obviously started your social media like, 2-3 years ago? Mm-hmm. Was it during lockdown?
Yeah, it was during lockdown, so 3 years ago. What
was the goal when you first started? Did you have any idea?
No, I was so bored. And I'd just moved away, so I'd got a new job, and I moved to Stevenage. And I was so bored, and I lived in like a shared house, but I was the first person in this like brand new house, so no one else lived there.
Is that in Milton Keynes?
No, in Stevenage.
Oh, okay,
yeah. I moved way away, and I didn't really know anyone there. And then we went into lockdown. I just started this new job, so I didn't really have any friends at work either. Right. I was just like, damn. So I was like, I'm just gonna go home. So I came back to Milton Keynes for a bit, and I was like, I'm so bored. And then I was just scrolling through TikTok, and I'm like, I want to make TikToks. So I did, and then
the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I hated TikTok to start off because I was like, everybody's fucking banging on about it, and I'm like, I don't even get it. I just don't get it. But then lockdown happened, and I was like, now everyone was really raving about it, and I was like, right, okay. And I just turned a year clean, and I was like, the first thing I did was some dance videos with my son, and they blew up, and I was like, oh, this is very validating. I like it. I like it. So then I was just like, what do I know about? And I was like, I know about addiction, I know about drugs. Let's talk about that. And then it kind of just, I guess through at that point time, people were probably using quite a lot of drugs and didn't want to because they were like, got nothing to do and a reason to get smashed every day. So yeah, for the same reason, I guess I started it. But yours is blown massively. Why do you think that is?
Do you know what? I think something like there was a shift in lockdown. I talk about this quite a lot, where if you look at social media pre-lockdown, it's very different to what social media is like now. I don't think you saw a lot of real life before lockdown. I think it was kind of like a...
Varnished.
Yeah, I guess. Or almost like, I don't think I would have been able to get into influencing if it was pre-lockdown. No, because I didn't fit at the time that beauty standard or that narrative of like influencer. It's very luxury lifestyles, like people with a lot of money, like designer bags.
Yeah.
And I think something happened over lockdown where just the everyday person has almost become the influencer, and it's social media's come, I guess, quite far and become more of a relatable place. And I don't know what flipped, but I love it. I think.
Do you think TikTok?
Yeah, for what people were posting on TikTok, like it went from seeing like people's designer fashion hauls to seeing somebody doing a super drug haul. Do you know what I mean? And I think it...
Well, it allowed the everyday person to get a bigger outreach through their algorithm,
and give
right?
it a go.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why I saw this the other day about TikTok. So why they're trying to ban it in like America and stuff is because if you search like Instagram for... I can't remember what country it was, but obviously I know there's a war going on in Ukraine, but there was another country. So if you search for that country on Instagram, you'll get all these lovely photos. But if you search for it on TikTok, you get all these blown up streets.
No
You'll get the reality. So TikTok's real. TikTok, that's the difference. Whereas Instagram is like, right, we won't let you post this stuff. We won't put it into our algorithm if it's not what we want you to see. Whereas TikTok is just, we put what the algorithm is tailored to the consumer, right? So it's whatever they like to watch will come up. So if people are watching reality, which is what everybody likes, you said, you're real. You're just you're a real person. Like, you're not fucking, what's it called, where they airbrushed and all of that shit. It's like, oh, I can really relate to you because you're like me. You know, you make me, and if you're doing so well and you can be open and honest and vulnerable and, you know, take off the filters and take off your makeup and show you that you've got hair on your lip. I remember seeing one you did like, I was like, that's what I feel.
I thought you were talking about now.
No, no. I think you took a real close up and said, look, I've got hair on my lip, and it might have been something to do with shaving legs and stuff like that. It's just all like, I'm a human being and we don't need to be afraid of being a human being. And I can do this in front of 1 million people. And it's like, I think that's the biggest thing that you do that's beautiful for women. Do you know what I mean? Because they're like, I love that. I said it on my last podcast. I was like, I wish that women, I wish filters were banned. I really do, because as much as it would be hard to adjust at first, it'd be better for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't see the benefits. I don't see anything good that can come from a filter. I get it if it's like a marketing thing, if you're a model or if you're, you know, do you know what I mean? You're selling that as a product essentially. Yeah. That's your business. Do what you want. But if it's your everyday life and it's just your personal profile and you're using filters all the time and you're just becoming less and less accepting of who you are, more and more are disappointed with the real mirror in real life. And I just think that's so sad.
No, it's sad.
Especially for like dating. You know what I mean? Imagine if they're on TikTok, they're on Tinder, for example, and they know all their photos are fake. They know they don't really look half anything like that. And then they're going to a date based on that. Imagine the fear and anxiety that they know when they look, oh, he's going to look at me and go, oh, fuck this. Because I know I don't look anything like that. That's heartbreaking for me. And I just feel like, don't know if you agree, that it's become so normal now. It's become so normal because everybody does it. Like I said, that's the excuse. That's the fallback is everybody does it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, just because everybody does it doesn't mean it's a fucking good thing, does it?
Yeah, for sure.
So you've obviously done a lot on filters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you think's happening with society and social media?
I get where you're coming from completely, and I share like so many similar views. Like, people shouldn't feel like they have to blur things out and change the way they look. I don't think the world is going to be a filter-free place until it's a kinder place. And I think when you look at the root cause, like as someone that knows these people and is friends with these people, first of all, nobody downloads a editing app and sits there and thinks like, I'm going to set an unrealistic beauty standard today just because I can. No one does that. There's a lot of people that are viciously bullied, online and offline, trolled over the most stupid things, like their appearance, their hair, their skin, their body, anything. And unfortunately, there are people out there that will literally, even if there is nothing to pick at, they'll find something.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, I'm quite a thick-skinned person. Like, yeah, it does upset me sometimes when I'm having a bad day, but not everyone is. And there's only so many times a person that's already quite vulnerable is going to hear that before they start to believe it. So then they are going to download an editing app because it becomes out of sight, out of mind. And it's like, well, if I do that, the bullying's going to stop. But then on the other hand, it's like they edit their pictures and then they're the bad guy again because it's like, you're fake. You're setting an unrealistic beauty standard. I don't know. I don't think, like I said, the priority and the accountability really should fall on those people. I think it should be the people that put them there in the first place.
You think that they're doing it in response to an insecurity that they felt due to either something in their life or something through social media that someone's pointed out, oh, you've got a big nose, for example, or your skin's disgusting. Or
not even just online, in real life. Like, think of how many kids at school, like, there's only so many times someone's going to hear that, like a horrible thing, or like be bullied for something before they're like, oh, actually. And like I said, it becomes out of sight, out of mind. Fine, I'll just get rid of it.
Kids are horrible.
Yeah,
I was horrible. But I was a fucked up kid, so. But yeah, no, I hear that, but I also don't feel it's a solution.
No.
I don't think a filter's a solution. It's I understand it. I understand it to be a quick fix as, if I do it. But like you said, it comes with negative feedback anyway. Oh, you're just fake now, so they're going to get crucified. I think it's being accepting of the fact that social media is 50% a great place and 50% fucking horrible.
For sure.
And you've got to be willing, if you're going to put something out there, you've got to be willing to accept the terms. That's the terms you sign up for, isn't it? Like, you're going to put anything out, and this is life as well, half the people are not going to like you. Whether you're great, and they've got no reason, they just don't like you. That's just life. And people are going to say negative things. And unfortunately, if you're willing to put yourself in a social media environment, and not just because people have social media that's quite tight, within their people they know, and they keep it within those people that they know, right? You know, and that's fine. But if you're wanting to go bigger with it and you're wanting to be more widely known and sending your photos out there, you have to be accepting of that fact, don't you?
Yeah.
You've got to be like, right, well, you've got to be strong enough, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, especially I can't even imagine. Like, because I went through a phase, ironically, before I started on socials, I used to face up the shit out of my pictures. I'll show you after, I've got pictures on like my old socials where the wall is like bendy.
He said this. He said this in the last podcast. He said, you mentioned that, didn't you, Stu? So we can see like the walls are bending.
It literally was the mirrors, like there's a picture of me and my niece, and like where I've tried to like give myself like a slim waist, like a thick ass. It's like in the background, or like I used to sit there and like take a picture with no makeup on, but then still sit there like lips bigger, tip my eyes a little bit. Honestly, and it took me so long
to revert back.
Yeah,
to reality.
Not be doing that. Yeah, it was really bad actually.
Do you feel like it was a good move for you to do that?
Yeah, definitely, because I like to be a good example, I guess, or like not even a good example, because I know people that face up their pictures and they're lovely people and they're great role models, but maybe like a real relatable face, I guess. I don't know.
What about for yourself? Just in you? Yeah,
I guess so. I think the pictures are really bad. I am going to show you them afterwards, but like
we'll get them up honestly, when it comes up. We'll have them flash up.
I can honestly say I do not look like any of those pictures, and I don't even know why. I'm sure it was for a guy, like to get a guy's attention or something like that. That's why I used to do it.
The enemy.
And be like, yeah, literally public enemy number one. It's all your fault. But I don't know why I used to, just for general, I don't know. No need for me to do it.
Yeah,
but I just used to do it all the time. But I feel much better in myself posting the real.
Do you feel like your journey that you've been on has helped you become more accepting of you as you are?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, there are days where some people say some really messed up stuff, and it'll always be on a day when I'm having a bad day or like I'm having a period or something.
Yeah,
and I'm like, my God, I can't believe user 45 said that.
You picked the wrong fucking day, man.
Literally. Like, why? I'm not going on social media ever again. But it's, but yeah, I think, yeah.
So it's made a big difference for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Well, that was the point I really wanted to make, especially because I feel like this affects women a lot more than men. And I feel like, because the standard is kind of being set for them. And I think it kind of what comes down from like famous people, doesn't it? If let's be honest, they post something. It started with them. They've got airbrushed up to fuck, look incredible, body is amazing, and blah blah blah. It's all they do because it's edited so well. You can't really tell it looks real, but probably most of it isn't. And then everyone's like, oh, I want to look like that. And then suddenly, social media created a lovely little device that enables you to have it just like that.
For sure.
And they're like, wow, we can all be like that too. And it's like, it's so easy. And I'm not even sort of pointing the finger and saying it's you're a bad person or you're silly for doing it. It's upsetting for me to know how difficult it is for people, especially women, to live on social media without being their true selves.
Yeah.
You know, and whether that started because of something on social media or before. And I just feel like for me, the best solution out of that is them becoming more loving of themselves, accepting of themselves through whatever means that is. Like, there's so many ways that we can do that. But I feel they're getting further and further away from that with using filters. I feel like they're becoming more and more dependent, less and less happy with themselves, and might even then push them to in the real life circumstances to try and change them to that through surgery, through filler, through Botox and everything else. God knows how much people on the internet, they're trying to look like that face. Like, that's a lot of pressure for you girls, right?
It's a lot of pressure. I think it's also a lot, like I said, to put on to the people that are doing it. Like, it's so, like, because I preach self-love, it's very easy for me to say, well, you should just love yourself, you know, love you for you. That doesn't mean so it's going to go in one ear and out the other, especially, again, if someone's aggressively trolled, aggressively bullied, like, then it's a nice thing to say, but they're not going to listen until they're ready to listen.
Do you think they should come off social media whilst they do this? Is it, so say they can't live with, say every... I always say there's kind of levels with filters. I think if you use one now and again, cool, whatever. But if in the majority is normal, you know, clean photos, unedited. But if it's every photo, do you think someone like that, do you think it's good? Do you think it's healthy for them to keep posting in that way? Or do you think they could benefit potentially from having, like you said, time away from it, living in the real world, becoming more accepting themselves, going on some sort of journey for themselves to understand why they feel the need to do that, and maybe try and heal that insecurity or that fear or whatever it is they feel they need, and then come back to it?
I think I'm 50-50. I don't feel, I guess my opinion does come from, like I said before, like bullying, trolling, very nasty people online. In those circumstances, I don't think anyone should ever be pushed off of an app because they're being bullied. I don't think that at all. But then in the circumstance where somebody, like how I used to be, can't take a picture without having to drastically change the way they look, maybe it would be beneficial to take a little break, live in the real world. But also, if you're comparing yourself constantly to people online, unfollow them. There is so many relatable influencers online that talk about body positivity, little things like stretch marks or body hair, or I don't know, like will post with no makeup on, no filters on. Follow them instead. Like, you don't have to follow these people. And if they're making you feel bad, just block them. They're not going to be like offended. They're not even going to know. It's difficult to push this narrative though. I 100% agree with you. Like, yeah, great, go do that. But how difficult is it to convince now today? Because it's the vast majority now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They're more overpowering. I'd say it's like 80-20, 80% filtered, 20% reality posters now, isn't it? In just general day-to-day life, more normal people, I'd say it's so much more filtered than it is natural. Yeah. So you're now arguing with the mass who all agree with each other because they don't want to let it go, because they feel more comfortable right now. But I just think long term it's just not good. I wish there was some way that we could change it. We could change it, because I know that eventually they'd be more happy or more accepting. But we can't get rid of trolls. That's the problem. No, yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, right, we've got to accept that. People can create fake accounts. There's nothing you can do. But how can you accept someone being so nasty, but not accept someone feeling insecure and putting it, you know? I 100% accept them. I understand the reason why. My argument is that it's not helping. It's not helping them. It might be helping them in the short term, but long term it's not, because I don't know if you agree with this, but subconsciously they're going to know this is not real. So any comment they know it's not real. Sadly, the truth is that they'll know. Whether they want to admit it out loud, underneath they know. So that's not helping their self-worth in any way.
It's not helping the problem. Do you know what I mean? It's what it is in reinforcing the statement that actually they're not good enough without it.
Yeah. I think that's how I used to feel. I think I went through a stage where I was like, oh, I don't want this boy to see the picture. So I'm just going to change it. Because I guess deep down it is like I don't feel good enough without it kind of scenario.
And the longer that goes on, the harder it is to pull away. Like you said, imagine if you'd have maintained that up until now. Imagine trying to revert back. Like, oh, actually, I'm just going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost part of your identity now. It's like, and I fear that, longer term, I feel like insecurity and low self-worth, low self-esteem, I feel like it's at an all-time high for society. I agree. And due to not just filters, but social media in general, because of trolls as well and people like that. But the public forum that's so open for criticism and also the false standard that's set by so many influencers and stuff like that people feel that that's what they need to do. And also it's coming through from teenagers now. This is like 12 years old now, you got a phone, right? So it's like, it's almost like brainwashing them that that's how you got to look. So I fear for like the younger lot how bad it's going to be. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Do you have any siblings or anything like that at that age?
I've got nieces and nephews, teenagers and stuff. And I guess I'd be heartbroken if my like eldest niece like posted a picture and she'd just morphed herself into someone else like I used to. I'd be really sad because she's so beautiful. I think she's so beautiful.
What would you be going around and saying to her if she started doing that now?
You look so pretty and it's none of my business, but so much more beautiful without all of that. But then you do.
That's the problem, isn't it? You've got to say you do you make your own mistakes, you learn your own lessons. You have to let everybody do what they feel they have to do. But yeah, it's weird because filters weren't even a thing. No. Like, how long have they been around? Like 6 years?
Not even that long, no. I guess it was all Photoshop before, but...
Yeah, but I don't think many people went through the fucking effort of doing that, did they? Like, it wasn't like people had their laptops out, fucking nerds.
Do it, I probably would have.
Yeah, but I don't, that's what I mean. I don't think that many people had the time or the energy or the knowledge of, like, let's fire up the MacBook and fucking start editing like that. So, yeah, it's only been since it's been made easy, and that's been, I want to say, like, 2014, 15.
Yeah, so like Snapchat.
Yes, it started with Snapchat, didn't it?
Like with the dog filter and like...
Yeah. See, that was fine. It was funny. Do you know what I mean? That was just banter.
That's where it started, though.
And then before you knew it, everyone was just totally different. But I reckon men must be probably more frustrated with it than anything.
Yeah, I guess.
Because, I know, speaking to men, it's like... You get excited about, because obviously the first thing that you look at when you want to date someone through apps is the way they look. Am I attracted to them? That's everybody's first initial instinct is, am I physically attracted to them?
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's up there with the top 3 things when you're going to be in love or romantic with someone. And if you go there and it's nothing that what you said, it's just like, it almost feels dishonest. That's what the consensus from like friends that I speak to and other people that have been on have just said like, it feels like they've just lied to me. I've met them under false pretenses. Yeah. Do you think that's fair?
I get that. I don't know. I get frustrated with men on these topics sometimes. Like, not you, but like...
No, you can be frustrated with me.
My argument always used to be like, and I think a lot of women share this exactly the same opinion, but like when a guy says like, I hate the filler, I hate the filters, I hate the fakeness, it's all fake, this, that, and then show me your liked pictures, show me all the pictures that you've liked so I can see if you are kind of giving the impression you like an actual girl, because it's like
I'd be happy to show you mine. I don't really like photos with, no, I don't really do, that doesn't come up in my feed. But
do you get what I'm saying?
I do, yeah. But do you think they're doing that knowing that they're liking filters?
Absolutely. My ex-boyfriends used to do it all the time.
I think, it's probably easy to say that maybe they do, but maybe they're doing that on the basis that that's not someone they want to date.
Yeah, but like, are men really that ignorant? Like, not in a nasty way ignorant, but ignorant before they see that, like, they know something is edited. Yeah. You know that someone has filler. Yeah. So realistically, if you're going to walk into a date with somebody, you should that has all edited photos, and it's
I guess they could ask for they could say like, because obviously before a date you do have quite a bit of chat, and if it's got to that point you've started to invest a little bit, You could say, "Can I see an unfiltered photo?" But would you be offended? Would a woman be offended with that?
I don't think so.
And
I'd be
would they get
flattered
it?
if someone.
Stu's nodding it. What is it, Stu? Is your mic on?
No, it's not on, but I wouldn't ask that.
I wouldn't take that dating advice, but I wouldn't be offended if someone said that.
I'd want to.
You would want to, yeah. But so there you go. So right, so we
Yeah.
can't ask.
Just FaceTime, like it's not hard. Most people
FaceTime date before a date.
Yeah, most people FaceTime anyway. Like when I've been like
Interesting.
single and like talking to guys,
Yeah.
like we've always
FaceTime
FaceTimed.
first.
Yeah, I guess it's a safety thing for me as well,
Yeah,
so I can
yeah,
see
yeah.
that I'm actually speaking to.
And you don't want to waste your time.
Yeah, exactly. Dead banter. And then
Stu, you
just,
go on. What did you have to say?
I FaceTimed a girl in America once, and the first 4 times she had all the lights off. It was dark.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was trying to like record the screen and then turn the brightness.
Oh no!
So let me guess, it didn't materialise.
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, there is that. I mean, everybody. It's a strange one because you've got the right to use a filter. If you want to
Yeah.
use it, it's your fucking phone.
Yeah,
it's your
it's
app.
true.
It's your post. You can do what you want. I think, is it the responsibility of men to identify that they're using a filter? Because I'll be honest, not all filters are very obvious.
Yeah.
There are some really fucking good ones.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I dated a girl once and their photos looked absolutely insane. And I was like, wow, it's like a model. I was buzzing. And I met them totally different. And they weren't like really unattractive, but they definitely didn't look anything
Yeah.
like the photos. And I was like, I was a little bit, it's not to say disappointed. I was frustrated because I was like, why couldn't you just show me? Because she wasn't
Yeah.
unattractive. She wasn't like really unattractive or anything like that. She was an attractive girl, but she didn't look like that photo. Like she'd blown it up to be like absolutely perfect,
Yeah.
immaculate. And it's like, you didn't need to do that. But I was more annoyed, not about the way she looked, the fact that she'd kind of sent me all this fake shit. And I was like,
No, I get that. I do get that. But like I said, it's all circumstantial, isn't it?
Mm.
There's some people that don't mean any harm by it. Some people that won't post a picture without it being touched. It's what it is. It's their prerogative.
yeah, it is.
FaceTime before the date.
That's the rule of the thumb, guys.
Yeah, FaceTime before the date. Like I said as well, as a safety thing, as a woman, I always FaceTime before. And I always send my friends my location as well.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Because we're predators.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, because I saw this video once. It was really good. It was a guy basically saying that it was like, what is it to, this woman says, what is it to be a man? And then he goes on to basically say loads of stuff of how difficult it is to be a man, like basically saying that your mental health doesn't fucking matter, you know. And if yeah, I'll try and find it so we can post it for this as well. But he basically is talking about how difficult it is to be a man, and one of the things he said is that everybody thinks we're a predator and they have to carry pepper spray to keep themselves to defend themselves against us.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the reality? Is that how women feel about men?
Yeah, I guess so.
Really?
Like I don't feel safe walking at night time on my
No.
own. I would not. My dad wouldn't even probably let me. I'm 28 years old this year, and he would not even let me get a cab sometimes if it's dark outside. Like,
No, I wouldn't let my missus either.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable walking in the street. If I saw a group of guys, I would instantly probably have my key in between my knuckle,
Yeah.
like ready to go swingers. I wouldn't say every man is a predator, and it's like that. It's not all men. Like we know that, but it's some of you.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not saying it is. If you feel defensive over me saying I don't feel safe,
Yeah.
that's a problem you need to take up with yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I
not
don't
you
think-
personally.
No,
just
no.
all.
It was his post. I get it. It's a bit. It's sad that that's what the world has come to.
Yeah.
But typically that is a very small minority of men in the world that have caused that problem. But it is men. It is almost. It's only in one direction that crime. You know, rape. I don't think I've ever seen it happen in the other way around. Do you know what I mean? Instead of
Yeah.
women raping a man. I mean, I'm sure it might have happened very rarely, but so for that reason, that's why women are scared.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
definitely. It's like even things of like the stuff that went on with the police officers, like in the news, like that's that's someone I would go to feel
Yeah.
safe. And even now, if I had to go to a police officer, in the back of my head, I probably would be feeling a little bit vulnerable. I remember actually, while the Sarah Everard thing happened,
I don't know.
the lady she was murdered by a police officer, basically.
Is that the recent one that I heard about? That it was, yeah. I think, how long ago was this?
A couple of years ago or a year ago.
Oh, maybe not. Then there was another one recently that I just heard it was all a police officer, or unless that was the court thing going through for him recently.
I think something else has happened recently
Oh,
in
it
the
is a
Met.
different
Yeah,
one.
there's been loads of complaints and like reports of sexual assault in the workplace and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
this specific scenario, how crazy is this, right? So we were watching it on the news. The next day I was at home by myself. My mum and dad weren't in. A police officer knocked on my door. My instant reaction was just to let him in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I spoke, it was about something in my street, like they wanted a witness statement.
Just one
and I
police
didn't
officer
know.
as well?
Just one police officer. And I was just like, yeah, come in, no worries. Do you want a tea?
They won't be allowed to do that anymore.
This, that. And then literally when he left, I was like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
could you imagine?
Yeah, they won't let them do that anymore, will they? Men on their
No,
own as police
I
officers
don't
won't be
think
able
so.
to go into a
No.
house. They might if it was two, I guess, or maybe a man and a woman.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like when they have interviews now with women, there has to be a man and a woman present, surely. I thought it used to be. Yeah, I think so. At least all the TV programmes I watch are.
Yeah.
That's where my knowledge is coming from. Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do about having that need to protect yourself, and it is men that are doing it, unfortunately.
But even like if you look back, like a lot of people talk about this on TikTok, right? When I was at school, when I used to walk home from school in my school uniform as a teenager,
Yeah.
do you know how many of us used to get catcalled by like people in vans? And
Oh,
stuff? I
yeah.
still remember
I
it
remember
now.
it now, yeah.
And that's me walking from not even like I'm a kid that's dressed like an adult and has loads of makeup on, maybe looks 18 years old. I literally remember being in a school uniform, and a lot of women do. And you'd get guys drive past that like beat their horns and like shout things out the window. And it's like, bro, like kids.
Yeah.
That's the kind of environment, unfortunately, a lot of us have been.
Yeah, we're not
growing up
too
in.
different in age. I'm 33, 34 this year. So, but even now, because I have my son, and he's 11 in a week, and he's only just starting to go out on his own. I was out on my own at like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was playing in the park
Yeah.
for hours and hours and hours by myself
Yeah.
at like 7, 8 years old. But granted, it was like 10 metres from my house, but but still, there was kids from all over the different estates all coming to that park at the same age without parents.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would have never let him go out now. Like, it even now still scares me that even though he's 11, he's got his phone now and he's got his little electric scooter. So they're like teenagers. You ever find out about kids now as well? They're like way more grown up. Like when I was 11, I was still a kid, like a proper kid.
Same.
He's like a teenager, like has mood swings. So and I don't know whether that again is down to social media, the amount of knowledge and the amount of information that they're taking in, and then communication that they've always got with one another. But yeah, when I was 11, man, I was still like making fire in the woods.
Yeah. Just doing like playing runouts and stuff like
climbing
that.
trees.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That was life, going on the swings, playing in the park. It's like, nah, Dad, I
Yeah,
want a
it's
phone and I
crazy.
want an electric scooter and I want to, like, so, okay. The world has definitely changed in my time.
Definitely.
But yeah, no, I agree as well from that point as well, because it has changed. The world has massively changed. I think it's just the awareness, isn't it? There's so much more awareness about murders, about rapes, about paedophilia. It's just like, yeah, you just now, I just wouldn't. Yeah, even he's lucky now to be going out at 11, to be honest with you, because I still don't like it.
No.
I really don't fucking like it.
See, I've got 3 nephews and they're allowed to go to the park. So they're 11, 10 and 7. But the 7-year-old's not allowed to obviously go on his own. He has to go with his older brothers. And again, the park is literally like round the corner from my house. So
Yeah. See, there's a park up there. I still don't know. He's not allowed to go there on his own. It's literally like 4-minute walk from the house. And I'm like, no, if he's got a mate, fine. But on his own, no. No, I'm sorry. So I guess I share that perspective from if you're looking at it like that. Because again, it's always men, isn't it, with that crime, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame. But like I said, I think it's not all men thing. It irritates me because it's like, again, like I said, it's some of yous.
Yeah.
Not all of yous. And again, if you feel that angry and defensive over someone not feeling safe around a man, then that's something that you need to take up with yourself, because if you've not done anything wrong, you shouldn't be defensive, really, should you?
What do you think is the biggest problem between men and women in society today? What do you think we disagree on the most? Or if you could change anything in terms of the relationship between men and women, whether you could branch this into anything, into society, into relationships, into anything you want, what would be the one thing that you would like to change if you could wave your magic wand?
I think the expectations of life in general on women.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so difficult because especially in a relationship, like I've been through this before many times myself. It's like sometimes I feel that men, one minute they want like a housewife, someone to stay home, look after the kids, clean the house. And then on the other side, they want an independent woman with loads of money, like flash cars, show off to their friends, whatever.
Are you talking about the same person changing their mindset?
Yeah,
or?
absolutely. There's such a big expectation on women. It's like one minute you want this, then you want this, then you want me to look this way.
Right.
Then you want me to have all these kids and then look that way. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Even things like in relationships, like, I guess, always having to feel like sexy and like, it's just like, oh, grow up. Like, actually grow up. That's not real life.
So you think that men should lessen their expectations on women, how much they want, and also to perhaps stay in line with the one thing they said they want, not to change, not to like, oh, I want you to wear all these different hats. It's like too many expectations.
I think it's okay to change your, I don't know what to call it, like
desire within the person, or what it is that you're...
to change what you want.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just feel like there is a massive expectation on women all the time. Like we literally cannot win.
With some men.
With some men. Not all men.
So in your mind's eye, what do you think the responsibility of a woman should be in a relationship then? And this is all down to opinion, isn't it? Because some women might be, I'm a stay-at-home mum, that's what I want to do.
Yeah,
some women might want to be, I want a career, like, I just want to work. But you personally?
To be happy. It's my role to be happy. Happy wife, happy life. If you make me happy, I'll make you happy. That's that.
I love that there's not a saying that goes the other way.
What, happy?
Happy man.
No, it doesn't rhyme.
No.
So you're
happy,
not
happy husband.
No.
We don't have to be happy.
No.
We just have to make you happy.
No, I think again, it's all, like you said, it's all circumstantial.
Yeah.
I know what I would bring to the table in a relationship.
Yeah.
That's my business.
Yeah.
It's not my job to go into the relationship and then be like, oh, you know, I have this, this and this. I'm going to give it all to you. Like, no, like... works two ways. I feel like I've just been in a lot of relationships where I've been like relied on a lot. And like there's, like I said, had a lot of expectations on me all the time. My role now going forward, in my opinion, is to be happy. If you don't like it, if you're not making me happy, you can leave.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
I love that.
Have you had love at first sight before?
I think so, yeah, now.
Yeah, I've had love at first sight before.
Yeah,
I think when they say like, when you know, you know.
Yeah, I hated that saying until about a month or so ago.
Literally, it's crazy, isn't it? It's like, no, it doesn't exist. And then it happens and you're like, oh my God, there's fireworks in my soul.
Yeah. I have always my whole life been like a hopeless romantic. Like when I was a kid, I used to love films like The Bodyguard and Robin Hood. I loved like the love side of films. I loved romance. And then I always in my mind, obviously watching that shit, thought that's how life is. Like I'm going to meet someone, I'm just going to... And then all through years of fucking chaos in shit relationships, not down to necessarily the women or the people that I was picking, more down to myself being broken. And I feel when you're broken yourself, you'll normally only attract broken people or partners to be with, and that just creates chaos. And I basically had given up because of all the years of all of this shit. I was like, the fairy tale doesn't exist. But then obviously in doing that, I just worked on myself, became the best version of me. I've been doing that every day for the last 4 years. And then I met my girlfriend who I'm with now, and it was like instant. I was like, wow. And then every day just gets better and better and better, and no red flags are flying out. Nothing. It's just like click. It's just like everything I've ever wanted. I'm like,
she is very beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you. She is. She's gorgeous. But yeah, it's just, and I'm like, my faith in the fantasy, in like the fairy tale is reinstalled. I believe in it again, which
for sure.
I feel a bit bad because I obviously was previously, due to my own shit situation, telling people it doesn't fucking exist.
Yeah, real love isn't true.
I'm shitting on your parade. It's not real. But I think it is. So, that's nice to know. That is nice to know.
It's different. I think when you this is so soppy and embarrassing. I feel like when you, where I've dated people before, I love them, but I don't love them. I feel like when you finally you're in love with someone, it's a completely different ball game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I feel It's a weird one. When I've felt like I've been in love before, then when I've moved forward into different relationships, I've realised they haven't been, and I've understood myself more.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like this is kind of the first real experience for love for me ever, because it's totally different in
That's really
every
nice.
single way. Oh yeah, it's just no. Yeah, I don't even have words to describe it. That's how I feel about it.
That's
and it's,
what it should be like.
yeah, I can't put it into words, and and it just gets better and better, and it just clicked straight away. It's effortless.
Yeah.
Which, this is the thing everything I've been watching on social media is like, oh, it's really hard work. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's going to be things that are going to be challenging that you have to work through. But what already has been things that we've like talked about that we've had to kind of understand each other. But the way it's been communicated, it's totally different. It's like calm. There's been difficult things that I've had to talk about, but I've been heard, I've been received. I've never raised my voice. I've never
I love that.
never had to get upset. It's just been received, been communicated, understood, and actioned, and it's just like, that's it. It's done. It's like,
What is going on?
Is that it? No fireworks, no smashing stuff, no. Okay, great.
So that's what I'm quite used to. Obviously, not smashing stuff. Maybe, but like I'm so used to like being in relationships where I've got so angry all the time and just frustrated and felt like rejected and ignored. I think when you meet someone that doesn't make you feel like that, it's like, oh my God, this is what it's meant to be like, not like.
Yeah, I firmly believe that now. But one thing I do believe is that the only reason I've managed to get to that point is because of the work that I've done internally.
Yeah,
I think like the common misconception is that I'll just keep dating and eventually I'll meet the right one. And I don't believe that. I don't believe if you don't work on yourself and you don't become the one for yourself. So like I decided to, about a year and a half ago, it's like everything that I want from the partner that anything they give me, validation, love, support, a pat on the back, well done. So every day I write on the shower, well done, I love you and I'm proud of you every day. Because that was what I used to get within a relationship setting. Like, once I'd done all the work for myself that I do, like my breath, meditation, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I'm going to give that to me. I don't want to be dependent on anybody else for that. So I became completely dependent on myself for my self-worth, for my love, for my appreciation, for my respect. And then there's no pressure on the other person to give me all those things. When they give them to me, it's beautiful and I'm grateful for it. It's like, I don't need it. I love having it and I love receiving it, but I'm not completely dependent on you for that. And I think because I did that work, that then enabled me to find the person that I found now.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I do. Do you know what? I think from like going back to maybe like, I don't know when my first heartbreak was, like maybe like 21, 22. If I'd have had some time to work on myself and my confidence and my insecurities, I would have just not dated any of the people that I had dated, and I wouldn't have put up with it either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put up
You'd
with
have had
all the
boundaries,
rubbish.
right?
Yeah, I
And
would have
respect
had
for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. More respect for myself. I wouldn't have been so tolerant of things like cheating, lying.
Because you were just happy to have someone there.
Yeah, literally just someone that was giving me the attention. And I ended up all the time in like really long-term situationships. I was never the girlfriend. I was always like the situationship that like, it's like, oh, but we've been dating for like a year. Why can't I just be your girlfriend? It's like, no. And it's like, why?
I'm glad you brought this up because, so my missus has friends in that situation. They're a bit younger. So it's probably the same age you were talking about, 21, 22, 23, 24. And they're all, and I'm hearing what they're saying and they're like, basically like hanging off of these guys' words, like waiting for them to say they want to be with them. And I did a podcast, my last podcast was like, I actually mentioned you in it just before I was talking, because I was saying about how women should be looking at what you're doing and loving themselves and respecting themselves. And if a guy isn't fucking jumping up and down, the minute he meets you and he's so excited, then fuck him off.
Yeah, so true. My dad used to say to me all the time, like whenever I used to like cry, I have like boys and stuff. He'd be like, if he's not knocking on your door with flowers, like begging to take you out, he's not good enough.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, goodbye. Like,
literally.
But women, and like you said, and I think, as you put it so much, that you didn't maybe love and respect yourself enough at that point. No, I didn't.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed in them situations.
You wouldn't tolerate it, would you? Not for a minute.
If that was now, I know.
Yeah, if a guy tries like stringing you along now, you're like,
what are you doing?
Block. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, nice try.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, yeah, girls really need to listen to you more. because it's easy for a man saying it. But the thing is, I'm a man saying it and I'm listening to what these guys are telling them. Bearing in mind, I have had a fucking shady history of being a bit of a dick as well. When I was using drugs, I was, with regards to women, I was terrible. But I listened to what these guys are saying and doing, and I'm like, girls,
literally,
wake up. Like, you're beautiful. You're a beautiful woman, and you are running around after this guy who doesn't give a shit.
No, literally. And that's the thing that I think that hurts the most, or used to hurt me the most, is that when you have that realisation, like, you actually don't get, like, I could stop talking now, just disappear. I don't think you'd really care.
No.
I think that's...
But that seems to be what keeps them there.
Yeah, it's like a obsession.
Yeah, I want them to care.
Yeah,
I'll show them I'm good enough.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? They don't need to give you approval.
Yeah.
It's like, you're good enough.
That's what it is as well, approval.
Yeah.
It is, and it does turn into a bit of a cycle, because it's like, I've been there before where I've like dated people long term. I'm not their girlfriend, but we're still dating. We've been dating for a long time. And then you go through that phase of like, okay, well, what are we then? And then it's like, oh, I don't really like labels, like just chilling. And it's like, you go through like the rage, the sadness, and then they'll just put one message up like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, yes, he loves me. Even though it's 2:00 in the morning, I'm so happy.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said this. It's just,
Well, that was literally me.
Do you think this is why, though, a lot of men are, a lot of women, perhaps in the similar mindset to you, where they have got quite a dim view of on most men, or saying that like all men are arseholes, which probably because all men they've dated have been.
Yeah.
So therefore their mindset is, you're all just dicks.
Yeah, I don't think any woman, like, because I say stuff like that.
Yeah,
I said it to you earlier. I was like, I hate the men.
but you don't mean it entirely.
You know, it's just something you say like, oh, I hate men.
Yeah.
But not.
But there is a lot of men like that though. Mm-hmm. It seems, because this isn't just like one of my missus' friends. It's like a lot of them, and I'm like, but I just feel. I kind of feel like the women have to take a bit of responsibility too for not just telling them to fuck off. It's like, you have the option. You are the one staying in this situation.
So true.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you're allowing it. You're allowing it to happen, and you shouldn't. You should just, like, women have the power really to stop it. 100%. It's really, the power is totally within their remit, right?
That's true.
Because they're the one chasing that man. They just have to stop.
Yeah. It's so difficult to stop though.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to stop.
I think it is when you don't have strong self-worth or low self-esteem, or I've seen a lot of it because obviously I've been in sort of, what's it called? You can't use the actual names. I'm trying to think what they call it now. Fellowships. So 12-step fellowships, there we go. Because you can't say what they're specifically called through social media. And in there you hear a lot of like relationships with fathers. So any woman who's had like a father abandon them, obviously it's never the child's fault, but they tend to have this mindset of desperation towards having a male to validate them, to make them feel good enough, to make them feel worthy. And it's like, that breaks my fucking heart.
Yeah.
Because men don't necessarily know that that's happened. They're probably thinking, especially young men, like 19, 20, they're just being lads as far as they're concerned. They think it's fine. That's the advice given to men at that age. Like, I had zero role models. I had zero decent men in my life to say, treat women with respect. You know, the things that I saw growing up was horrific towards women. So as far as I was concerned, women didn't deserve respect because that was what I was taught. I had to fucking learn that myself. And then what it is, you rely on your pals. And your pals are just as fucking stupid as you. And what they say is, like, if you break up with a girl, just sleep with as many girls as you can until you're over it. That is generally the advice, and it probably still is the advice till today. Yeah. And it's like, men are a little bit on their arse with regards to where to go, and unless they've got like a really decent foundation and parents and friendships, like, that's rare now. Do you know what I mean?
It's weird because I've had probably the opposite and still had like, I don't want to say issues with dating, but still had like this, been in really vulnerable positions. So my parents met at school, like they were literally childhood sweethearts. They're still married. My dad he's just still so in love with my mum. Like you can see they laugh together. They're cute. They're just so cute.
I love that.
I love them. And he's always been a great dad. And he's got 2 daughters, always been very respectful of us, like we're his world. So for me, my expectations are really high. And then when I drop them, well, not even when I drop them, I go into situationships thinking like, oh, That's just what I know of love.
Right.
So that I think that's going to happen for me. And then it doesn't happen. I'm like, oh no.
So
what is this?
So there's obviously, it's a difficult one, right? Because insecurity can come from, you know, an abandoned parent. It can come from loads of different things. But you've obviously got that solid foundation in terms of a secure family unit that you grew up in. So it doesn't come from there. What do you think led you into a place of feeling maybe not as good about yourself as you should, that you do now, that you've realised maybe you were a bit younger, a bit more naive, a bit more immature, but obviously that low self-worth or low self-esteem came from somewhere. Do you know where?
No, I feel maybe I wasn't like always a girl that always had a boyfriend. Like I didn't have a boyfriend until quite late in like school years. And even that was like not even a proper boyfriend, it was just like a school boyfriend. I never really used to get a lot of male attention either, like growing up. And I don't know, I think I was just a late bloomer for like everything.
Right.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I still haven't figured it out, I guess. Yeah.
But you figured it out to a point where you knew it was something that you needed to fix within yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Just like knowing my worth a little bit more. And it's difficult because so many people can tell you, like I've had my mum, my dad, my sister. My sister used to say to me, there's literally thousands of him in the world.
Yeah.
There's only one of you.
Yeah.
Like who's really missing out here?
Yeah.
Like I always had the best advice, but it's difficult to listen to, I guess. Like sometimes it would just go in one ear, out the other.
Well, there's another thing as well, though, that you can know something intellectually. So what I mean by that is you can know that everybody says that, and you can probably know it yourself that, right, I'm attractive and I bring a lot to the fucking table for anyone, but feeling it is different.
Yeah, definitely.
I have to feel it too. And if you don't feel that, even if everybody's telling you, reassuring you, it doesn't matter. You've got to somehow shift that internal mindset, that internal feeling to say, do you know what? I feel enough. I feel amazing. I feel like a wonderful person, and I feel like I deserve the best man in the world, and I feel like I'm not going to accept anything less. So that's the big thing that everybody has to sort of shift towards, I think, in men and women, is knowing something and feeling it are two very different things. And I think once you feel good enough in yourself, then you won't accept shit from anyone.
For sure. And also that a relationship is not the be all and end all of life.
No. Well, the biggest relationship is the one with yourself. If you fix that, then everything else is all right.
I used to always just want a boyfriend. I think I always just wanted to have a boyfriend just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
And just be like, I'd like to actually be the girlfriend, like to go on holidays. And I've done it and it's shit. So actually, all of those years.
Wasting my fucking time.
Literally wasted my time. It is not all it's cracked up to be. You don't have to have it.
Do you think you have a better time now going with friends and stuff like that?
Definitely. I have like the best summer planned. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
What are you doing?
I'm going on 2 holidays this month.
Nice.
Festivals. We're going to Parklife next week, me and the girls.
Nice.
Really excited about that. Just fun stuff. Just fun. I'm not saying that you can't do that when you're in a relationship, because obviously you can, but just fun stuff that doesn't revolve around a boyfriend. It's great.
So what age do you think it was where you started to realise that actually I'm seeing myself being very, disrespectful to myself by allowing this shit, the men to, you know, sort of come into my life in the way they think they can. And right, okay, I need to take a step back and work on that.
Probably like the year before lockdown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in a situationship then that was really long, and the weirdest thing is I didn't have any paper proof that I was being massively disrespected. I just knew, like I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
No matter how many people told me like, you're being crazy, like, girl, I knew.
What you, as in he was having more than one relationship?
Yeah, more than one relationship.
Yeah.
A kid that I didn't know about, had a kid on the way that I didn't know about.
Wow.
I only found it out like last year. And I was like, what the hell? But I guess if he'd have just told me that stuff, it probably would have been a lot easier to get over it. But I was kind of left in the dark in that situation. Like I was like, why have you just left? Like I don't get it.
So he just cut you off?
Yeah, he just cut me off. It was like Christmas Eve and I just got blocked, and I was like, what the hell?
So you'd invested how long with this guy?
Like nearly a year. Yeah, and I was like, oh man. And then I literally had to force myself to just move on from the situation. And
did you spend a lot of time looking for answers, like trying to get hold of him?
Yeah, I was like, I was like messaging him on Facebook, Snapchat, and I was just getting blocked. And I was like, oh my God,
because
I don't
he has a
understand
baby
what's
on
going
the way.
on. Yeah, apparently. I didn't know this.
I get why you hate men.
Literally. There's so much worse stuff I could say as well. Like, just some of the stuff that I found out. And again, I didn't know at the time, so it could have been easier to get over it. But I think that situation actually has like been a blessing in disguise, because I had to literally like pull myself out of it. I was so miserable.
Pain.
And yeah, like real pain. Like I was so upset.
Sadly, that's the way we learn.
That's it. But I could walk past him in the street now and I wouldn't say hi,
You
but I
bet you
wouldn't
would.
be upset.
Could
I
hold
would
your head
cry
high.
about it. Yeah, definitely. But that was like my turning point, because it literally was like I was just declining and it wasn't getting any better, because I
Yeah.
really, really thought I was in love with that person.
Oh, bless
And
you.
it was just like down. I was like, well, I'm going to have to do this, because otherwise.
What did you do to bring yourself back up?
Oh my God. I went literally what I'm doing now, traveling with friends. I got really into the gym as well. I loved going to the gym, like to take my aggression out on something.
Yeah, nice, love
Got
it.
out more.
Yeah.
Just had fun.
Started to
things that
embrace
make me
yourself a
happy.
bit.
Yeah, things that just actually made me happy.
I did something that I sort of went back to being a kid. What did I like to do? I love to sing. So I sing all the time now. So I've learned to sing a lot. Well, Stu knows, you hear my singing, don't you, Stu? But yeah, so that was one thing I did it to sort of distract myself from the chaos around, but it soothed me. It made me feel a lot better. So I've been singing like for the last 9 months now, as well as all the other things that I found. Is there anything that you sort of found childlike stuff that you did, or did you just trying to find more?
I'm all about healing the inner child. Like I love stuff like that. I guess even like little things like holidays, actually having friends. Didn't have loads of friends when I was a kid. So having all these friends, going away with them, having like independence, little things like that. I haven't like dug deep enough into the inner child stuff to figure that out. I don't know. I guess treating myself, buying stuff. It's always fun.
Do you think you would like to do more work with it, like understanding inner child and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. They call it like shadow work and stuff like that as well. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I've done a lot of that stuff.
I love it.
It's hard. Yeah, I mean, I do it every day, to be fair. Like when I do meditation and I do breath work, like it always depends on what I'm going through at that moment in my life or that day. But I will normally try and get to a place where I go to see him. There's an age of myself where there's a picture. I've actually got it on my phone. It was a picture of me at school. I think I must have been about 11. And it was at that age the most chaos was going on. So I always go to see myself at that age. And that's my inner child. And I always say he lives like just below my heart. But I'll always go and see him. And like the other day, like I did a meditation with him and I just lifted his face up and he was just smiling. Like I never normally see his face whenever I go to see him. He's always looking down and I'm always talking to him about something. But it just so happened that he just looked up and smiled and he jumped and gave me a hug and said, I love you. And I'm so happy I've got you. Which is like basically building this relationship with him, because he was always dependent on, we were always dependent on something external to make us feel safe or wanted or loved, whether it be my career, my business that I had, you know, that was always validating, or then stepping into social media, that validated. It was all like always external, or the relationship. But for the last year, it's just been me showing up for him consistently, especially like with all the work that I've been doing. And I've been just trying to teach him every day, look, you don't need anyone else. I've got you. And he's kind of sulks because he wants to play with his normal toys, which is either being in a relationship or, you know, being like in the spotlight or earning loads and loads of money and, you know, having everybody see that and validate him for it. I've taken all of his toys away basically and gone, look, just trust me. Like, I'll just look after you with everything I can give to you by singing, by doing meditation, by doing breathwork. I'm always here. And like it was only the other day, the first day, he looked up, smiled and just hugged me and was like, I love you. I know I got you. And he even went, oh, can I go play now?
I love
and
that.
I know that sounds surreal, doesn't it? But like that's the level of work. And don't get me wrong, the majority of the time that I managed to connect with him through meditation. Like you might only get a minute or you might get 3 minutes with them. And a lot of the time he's been broken. It's so sad, and it's because of things happening. Or I even noticed that like there was things that I thought I was upset about in present day, and then I was like, actually no, it was to do with your mum when she started drinking and when she started doing this, and it's like that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of that, not this present day. And I was like, right, great, that allows me to not be worried about now. I can let go. I don't have to attach what this person is doing or what's happened there to that fucking huge mess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So I implore you to continue that avenue with inner child stuff. It's it's brilliant. It is so brilliant. One big question.
Okay.
What is the biggest piece of advice that you would give to your 18-year-old self?
Oh my God. Let me think. What was I like when I was 18? Probably a dickhead.
You don't have to be just you. It could be an 18-year-old girl in today's society.
Probably don't run before you can walk. I think I was a really impulsive person when I was younger. Didn't used to make majorly big mistakes, but I used to fuck up sometimes. And it was all down to me, like my impulsiveness, my like need for validation, my want for friendship and relationships and stuff, and just be happy with you. And like we said, it's so easy to say it to somebody that's not going to obviously take it in, but just learn to be happy with who you are. You don't need to change. You don't need to
prioritize loving yourself over loving anybody else.
That's it. I must have had like so many different personalities, like from the age of like 16 to like maybe like 20. It was just always changing.
Do you feel like you're still growing up?
Yeah, 100%. I don't feel 27.
Yeah, I do. I was having this conversation with a friend yesterday. I was like, I feel like I'm about 17.
Yeah, literally.
Because I feel so immature in so many ways. But I put that down to a certain thing as well with me, because addicts generally, when you start using drugs, it fucks with your limbic system, which is where your emotional centre is. So you stop growing emotionally when you start using drugs regularly.
Right.
Not say if you just use them now and again, but if you use them every week like I did, you basically stop growing. I started using drugs at 13. So I've been clean for 4 years. So that's 17. So that's how I worked out.
Mine's like lockdown. I don't know what, I was like 24 or like 20, just turned 24 when lockdown started. And then I've blinked and I'm like 28 this year.
When you get to like 25, doesn't every year just go bang?
Yeah. It's so weird.
You're like, oh shit.
Like, oh my God, I'm so old. And people tell me all the time, like, I didn't know you were 27. I thought you were like 21. I'm like, I am.
Yeah, I am. What are you talking 21. About? Yeah, no, I think it is funny, isn't it? I think I only really started maturing from like 30 is when I feel, 30 is like the best decade for me so far.
Yeah.
Out of everything. Yeah.
Oh, I love that though.
Yeah, so don't think about it as a bad thing for me personally, but maybe I'm a bit biased because my whole 20s was filled with drug use and fucking madness. So, but you probably had really fun 20s. You might feel like that 30s sucks. Like, what are you talking about? You're going to tell me it's a couple of years' time. Like,
people say the 30s are the best years of your life, though.
I think it is. Like, yeah, I just think you start maturing. You can sort of go in every circle. You can still hang around with the younger lot and not feel too old. You can hang around with the older lot and feel very mature and accepted in that. So you kind of got the best of everything, and you're not starting to wither away yet as well. Like, you're still physically fit. Not like backs like every day. I'm not quite there yet. I think I've got a few years left. Oh, I love it. Whatever. There was another question that I wanted to ask you about your followers. Your followers. What was it?
My besties.
Your besties. What do you feel like your relationship is with them now? Do you feel like because you quit is it like TikTok's big sister? Is that how you feel you are to your
but sometimes there's followers of mine that are older than me, and they maybe see me like TikTok's little sister. I don't know.
What do you think you give to them the most?
I guess comfort and solutions.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard when people say, do you want comfort or a solution?
No, I've not heard that.
I used to use that I learned it on TikTok in my other relationship, and I'd like, you shouldn't have to say it, but when I'd say things to my ex-boyfriend, I'd be like, this happened today. I want comfort, not a solution.
Yeah,
Because we used to argue a lot. Every time I'd say something, he'd kind of be like, well, you could have done this. And I'd be like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, now, I just want a hug.
Yeah, it's comfort, not solutions. But I think I give comfort and solutions, and like a relatable safe space. Like it's like a judgment-free zone, whether it's like on a video or in my direct messages, like it is judgment-free. Like there's... there's always someone that will be able to relate as well. So
I remembered my question now. What's the hardest thing about what you're doing with your social media right now, do you think?
It's such a weird thing. Like, I'm 3 years into it now. I didn't even think I'd do it. Like, I never wanted to be an influencer. I never thought I would be an influencer. I guess it's like that fear of like, what if it all goes tits up?
As in it just
what
vanishes.
am I going to do? I mean, it's not like I can't go back into a career that I had before, because I can. But I just love it so much. I don't ever want it to end. It's like, what if it stops?
You don't want it to be a bubble that bursts.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, that's interesting. So
For me.
you fear You fear of losing what you've created.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think you ever will.
Oh, I hope
I
not.
don't think you have to worry about that. Do you have any questions for me? For men or for men?
It's so funny because I put the question box up for my followers. I'm not even going to like read the questions because they're all the same thing.
Oh, really?
I think like the men versus women, you have to remember my demographic is literally like 99% women. It's really like, and we do shit talk men all the time. So when I put the question box up, the questions were like, I was like, oh, like, do you want to just like hear us discuss anything? And I did say it was like a man versus woman.
Yeah.
Didn't mean we were like fighting. So some of the questions were like, why the fuck they feel they can comment on our bodies, why they want to, like, why they do this, why then. I was like, oh my God, it's not that type of discussion. I'm so sorry. Probably should have been a little bit clearer.
It's not a war.
Probably my fault because I entertain those types of...
Nah, but I still think it's interesting, like questions like that. Go on, throw any ones that you got. I'll see if I can answer.
Should I see?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Let me turn my phone on and see. But yeah, I think I probably should have explained. I probably should have just said I'm going on a podcast.
Yeah,
Anything you want to
yeah.
ask. But I was like, if you could ask a man versus woman discussion, what would you say? You can ask anything.
No, I think it's good though. Like, even if they're coming from a maybe slightly negative, we can still tone the question down and answer
Yeah,
it.
but I want to know the answer as well.
So why do we think we can comment on?
Where is it? Was this one specific question? Thing with me as well is I always remember all my followers' names.
You've got like 1 million.
No, I do remember everyone.
I guess because they say there's like 1,000 real followers, don't they? Where they're basically that means there's like 1,000 of however many followers you've got, but there's 1,000 that are real.
Yeah.
They're like into everything you're doing. They're engaging with everything that you do. Like they say that if you can get that 1,000, then you're set for life, basically.
So the question was, why do men think they can comment on women? Looks, life choices, etc., etc. Laughing face, laughing face.
Why? I guess it's not about thinking we can. I mean, it's the same as commenting on anything or anyone, isn't it? Everyone can have an opinion, right? So we can always have an opinion. Whether or not you listen to us is totally, that's your choice.
Yeah.
But I think in the same way that women would probably comment on a man and what they do. And like, I don't think that's one way necessarily, is it? I think they're saying it from like judgmental point of view, aren't they? Yeah, I mean, not all men will do that, but some men are just arseholes.
Yeah.
We're happy to own that.
Yeah.
Some of us are dicks. We can't.
Do you know what? To be fair, if I get trolled, I would say maybe like 40% of the time it's men.
Really?
Yeah, the rest of it's from like women.
Like what?
So I'm not saying I don't get trolled by men, I do, and some of them are actually incredibly rude and nasty, but I don't know, it's like things like physical appearance, anything. You can literally get trolled for anything. I could post a picture of a sandwich and someone would be like, that's the most butter sandwich I've ever seen, hate you.
How do you deal with it?
I do and I don't. Like sometimes, like I said, if I have a bad day, like I read it's funny now, like I'm laughing now. At the time I was not laughing, I was actually crying about it. But it's the most ridiculous thing to ever be trolled over. So I was being trolled over my face, right? Which is like common, that happens all the time.
Right.
I'd just like to clarify as well, I do not have cheek filler. So whoever made up that rumour, it's just my round face. But basically I posted an ad. Off the back of that, there was this big discussion about how I have too much cheek filler. Like my face is so puffy because I've had so much filler. And I was like, I actually haven't had any filler. And even if I had, it's none of your business. So somehow that conversation like escalated to like someone said, oh, I wondered if she was pregnant with that puffy face. And then someone underneath it commented like, who would fuck her? I was like,
oh my God, it just got worse and worse and
then
worse.
people were responding the sick emoji to that comment. And I literally was like, oh my God, I'm going to cry myself to sleep tonight. But I'd laugh about it now. I think it's one you have to take it on the chin, like find the funny side of it.
I think that you kind of have to be ready for social media, don't you?
You do. It's brutal. But like, it's so funny because I was like, oh my God, first of all, plenty of people. Secondly, what the flip? I was like, who
Plenty of people.
are you?
Oh, have
like, do
you
you want to
know?
see my notes page? So I'll get it out, Sandra. Okay. It's like, Jesus Christ, like so many things. Like it's anything. Physical appearance is one of them. It's always my face as well. And it's like, if you're going to troll anything, at least troll something that's like not my face. And then what else is there? Like even like if I post what I eat in the day, if that goes viral, I actually dread it because I'm like, here we go. It's like I posted a Costco video. Like, I'm sorry, no one goes to Costco to buy vegetables. Maybe you do. You must eat a lot of vegetables if you buy them in bulk. I'm not Subway. I'm not doing that. I went to Costco and I didn't think it would blow up that well, but it got like over 3 million views, right? Oh my goodness. The people were commenting stuff like, you're going to make your children a burden of the NHS. I was like, I don't even have kids. What the flip? They're like, oh, yum, diabetes, good for you. And I'm like, just leave me alone. What? Like anything.
But you can handle it on your good days, on your bad days, it might upset you.
It does, yeah. Sometimes I'm a bit like, oh, that's made me feel really sad.
See, I'm quite funny with it. Like, I always say it's like 50-50. You have to just accept it that half people are going to love it, half people are going to hate it. That's life in general. Half people are going to like you, half people are going to, no matter how good you are, doesn't matter. Stop trying to impress everyone. You can't. But I genuinely look for the bad ones because I want to fucking argue with them.
Yeah, literally. So I've got filtered comments on at the moment.
Yeah.
Where like, unfortunately, I can't pick and choose. Like, but I've got certain words
in
my TikTok that if they're posted, they have to go under review. That doesn't mean I can't see it.
Yeah, it means
it just means that I can't see it right now.
Right.
And I have to approve the comment basically.
Yeah.
So someone might actually say something really nice, but because they've used a certain word, like it's been picked up for review.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just read it for fun. I've got a 37-page gossip thread about me that I've had to ban myself from reading.
What? 37
pages. I've had to like ban myself from reading
people just slaughtering you basically?
Yeah, my whole life.
Wow.
I've had to stop myself from reading it because I started to get really upset about it.
Yeah, that's savage. Oh my God. Interesting. Yeah, I always, because obviously my stuff's about addiction and like the majority of the stuff, it's them just basically saying addicts are fucking filthy and all this kind of shit, which I couldn't care less. But it's when people put stuff like, you've just got no fucking willpower.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, okay, I'm 4 years clean now, so I have willpower, okay? That he basically was saying that addiction isn't real, you just don't have willpower. And I'm like, well, and then like, I just like it when people are stupid.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that makes no sense. Because if I had no willpower, I haven't had a drink for 4 years or I had a drug for 4 years.
Yeah.
I have willpower.
For sure.
And so I wrote that back to him and he was like, yeah, you've got willpower. And I was like,
okay.
do you know what you said on my video where you said I don't have willpower? Like I'm commenting on your comment where you said I don't have willpower and you like,
literally
okay,
probably got be kind in the bio as well. It's always those ones like, oh my God, you're such an ugly bitch, and then you got the profile and it's like NHS nurse, be kind. It's like, oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, social media is a minefield. But I think that's going back to that original point as well, like with people, if you're going to post, you just kind of have to be ready for it.
Yeah, I have to take it on the chin, I think. Like, do you know what as well? And I'm not even inviting those, the amount of trolling I could get, but I know people that get it so much worse. Compared to what I get, like a throwaway comment maybe once a week, compared to what some of my friends get, it is so bad.
Considering the amount of how big your page is and how much views you get, that's not bad considering you have one a week or ish.
Maybe like one a week, maybe two. Depends what I'm doing, what I look like that week, I guess. Depends how puffy my face is.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It just depends whether some little fucking dickhead finds your page.
It's so true. The live ones are always crazy as well. Like when I don't really live stream that much anymore because it's really hard to like keep control of like a live stream.
Yeah.
And like one thing about my followers, I hate the word followers, like my friends, like we will back each other till the death.
Yeah.
So if some horrible man comes on my live, like, you're an ugly bitch, like, you're going to have all the girls like, okay, fine, we've just found your workplace, we're going to email your boss. And it's like,
What do you think we can do to restore the faith in men a little bit within your society that you have, or within your community, should I say, that you have built?
Like, stick up for women. Don't be afraid to stick up for women. And like, I've had some really nice comments from guys actually on TikToks before. But yeah, like, stick up for us. Like, you don't be defensive all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, if a woman is saying to you, God, I just feel like so unsafe around all men, like, don't instantly go on the defense. Like, well, I've not done anything. Like, try and understand, whether it's even about relationships, love, safety, work. I don't know. Just back us up a little bit.
Do you think that a lot of women that have, the women that you are within your community have been hurt a lot by men, and that's why they are of the same mindset.
Yeah, I think so, because we talk about it on DM a lot, like me and a lot of my girls. So they'll come to me and say like, oh, do you have any advice for this situation? But then also sometimes I'm going through things as well. So it's actually it's not nice to know that someone's going through something like that. But sometimes it's nice to know that you're not alone in the situation. Like, it works both ways. They will never feel alone.
Yeah.
And also I will never feel alone as well, because, you know, I'm reading these messages, I'm reading these comments like, oh, I've been through that
it's
too.
not just you helping them, they help you.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
I guess that's what comes from being vulnerable, courageously vulnerable online about real life as it's happening for you. I'm not going to just... This is one thing about social media that is massive, is that it's always portrayed to be the best life. It's like, well, I'm only going to show like the best, not when it's difficult, not when I'm having a bad day.
Yeah,
that doesn't go on. It's always, and everybody looks at it and think, oh, I wish my life was that good. It's like, it isn't. Nobody's life is that fucking good.
No, it's so true. It's so crazy, because when my mum was poorly, I genuinely, hand on heart, received the most support from like what you would class as a stranger on the internet than I did people in my real life.
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for my followers for that.
Yeah.
So much. Because it's like,
So
they were
talk
the
to me
ones-
about, because I saw some of the posts. Was your mum going through cancer?
Yeah,
is that right?
she's all clear now. She's like 6-7 months all clear.
How was it?
That was awful. But again, I didn't have loads of support, like in-person support.
Yeah.
But like, there was not a day where I wouldn't get at least 5 messages, like from somebody like, Vicky, okay, you haven't posted in like a couple of hours. Are you all right? Is everything okay? Or like, how's your mum doing? Like, we're thinking of you, this, that. And it was just so nice. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
is
so
nice.
lovely. And then there's people in my real life that didn't even ask if she's okay. And I'm like, oh, fuck you
Yeah,
guys.
that's a little bit of
It's
a
like
shame,
when
isn't
they
it?
say like social media friends are not real friends. They very much are.
No, I think, there's been so much. I had loads of support from people, like, you know, it's a weird one for me. My family don't even say well done for me, apart from my brother would, but my mum and dad I don't really speak to, but they've never really gone well done. I think I even went through on like my 3rd year, see my dad, and he was like, I said, oh yeah, I'm 3 years clean today. And he was like, oh, okay. That's it. But online, I had so many people saying, that's incredible and well done, keep doing what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I do think you can.
Yeah, definitely.
You can lean on your followers a bit
those
for that.
people, they're like, they are my best friends. I can't go a day without speaking to them. That 10 days that I had off was awful.
What, when you did your break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to see the comments? Hang on.
What did you do with yourself throughout that time?
Nothing.
So
Nothing.
so like you didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything. Like what was you doing physically?
Well, I was going gym.
Yeah.
I was making some content, but like it was like fashion content and stuff, just something different, like with my friend, and it was more like an experiment to see like if I liked doing that kind of stuff or not.
Yeah.
I really didn't do much. The comments they're so nice. It's like, I have missed you, girl. You're my comfort.
Oh.
Glad to see you back. You deserve the world. Love you. So glad you're back. I've missed you so much, beautiful girl. Glad you're feeling better. Like, oh, you're back. Yay. Just so many nice things.
What drove you to have the break?
Just wasn't enjoying like social media. It was becoming a nasty place. And I was like, I don't want to endorse that. So I'm coming off of it.
For you specifically or friends?
No, for seeing it wasn't actually anything to do with me.
Right.
And it was like other people, and I was going for my like nighttime scroll, and I'm like, oh, I hate this app. Like, this is a horrible place. Like screen recordings of lives, or people being cancelled, or like I'd go to comment on like a friend of mine's TikTok, and then I'd look and see it would just be a sea of nasty comments, and it's just like, I don't want to be a part of that. So I'm taking a break now until it gets nicer. So
Are you gonna maintain regular breaks, do you think?
yeah, I think so, because I had a lot of fun doing not much, which sounds really weird, but it was like,
No, I think it's important. Like, I think everybody, said this in one of my other podcasts as well, that I think everybody would benefit if they could put down their phone more.
yeah.
I was so attached to it now. As much as I appreciate Steve Jobs for creating something so intuitive and incredible that has changed the world, it's not entirely for the good. Like,
Yeah.
I think we should be able to detach from it. Like, if everybody put their phone down at like 7:30 at night, that would be great.
Yeah.
Just to be connecting with the people around you. Like, I don't like it when I go out and I see people experiencing their night through their phone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I am that person.
But that's
though.
because it's your job.
So I literally
It's your
will
job,
sit there,
though.
like I'll go for dinner and be like,
Yeah, but it's your job. That's different.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When it's your career, you kind of like, this is all marketing for me.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
for
And it's people share your life with you. That's your that's your agenda. That's everything that you do. That's your selling point. So people want to see all that stuff. But I think for like your average Joe or like just normal people,
yeah,
they're in a really amazing experience, but yet their phone's there.
yeah,
I'm like, "Ugh." But again, it's like you do you, but I'm just like, be here, be present. Like, especially if I'm with that person as well, I'm like, listen, put your phone down,
Yeah.
please, because I want to be with you. I want to connect with you and
Sure.
have a good time. And like, yeah, I just feel like it's so much better without that barrier between
Yeah.
you and reality.
To be fair, I've gone out to things like with friends before with like the best intentions of like TikToking the whole thing. And then I do say sometimes I just really can't bother to TikTok this. I just want to enjoy it.
I'm
like,
having too much of a good time.
Yeah, let me just not.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's like 50 million like half finished TikToks in my draft.
Ah,
where I'm
really?
Like, oh, couldn't bother.
But that's good that you can make that decision as well,
Yeah.
though. I feel like if you can go, do you know what, actually, I'm really feeling this, and I'm like, nah, do you know what, I don't need to share. This one's just for me. This
Yeah.
is just for me and my life, and that's okay too,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Great.
So, do you have any more questions before we finish? No? All good. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait for you to come on again.
High five.
Woo!